Today I want to give real bloody beginners basically a chance to start a track in Cubase, and I'm trying to do it as slow as possible. I'm doing this since 10 years, so I'm used to doing stuff very quickly. This time I'm going to try to do it very slowly for you. So what you see here is the arranger window of Cubase, and we're gonna add some instruments channels first. We're gonna go step by step. I'm gonna explain you what the things are while I'm doing it, and I'm gonna try to explain exactly how I am doing them. Normally I'm used to shortcuts. This time I will try to show it as detailed as possible. So you see this area. I think my mouse cursor is not visible on the recording. The white area with the lines that you see is the arranger view. This is where you will have your different elements, MIDI files and audio files. And this little thing up here is the transport bar, where you can press play and so forth, set a loop and set channels to record, but I'm going back to this in a little bit. So the first thing which we're going to do is add an instrument, a VST instrument, to our project, and we're going to do that by clicking on the right mouse button in this blue area. So we're going to choose instrument track, then we are going to choose Bazzism. Bazzism is a very cool all-in-one tool to make kicks very easy. We're going to use that for our kick, and yeah. So again, I'm going to do a second instrument channel, right click, add instrument channel, then this window plops up and we get a chance to choose the instrument that we want. We go to synth and choose the VB1, and there you go. Now you have the two instruments that we will use for our kick and bass. So we're gonna draw a little MIDI file here. We're going up to the tools section and choose draw. Or we could also just right click into the arranger window and choose draw here. This is my preferred way to do it. That's right click in the white area, and then you press and hold while right click and you can choose it. So we go back to the normal sizing tool, or just right click, or we could also press 1 on our keyboard to go back. And then we double click the little blue thing we created. So now we are inside this piano roll thingy, and we can choose any note because it's not regarded by Bazzism, so put it wherever, and you can zoom a little bit in by pressing H and out by pressing G. So choose always the beginning of the note, one full note, 4 times in a row. Then you can press the little X and go out of that window. So now we have our kick set. The next thing we have to do is set a loop. So we just choose the blue thing and press P, and that should normally set the loop. Or otherwise you can go up in the area above the white arranger window and just go inside here and press and hold A and click here where the 2 is. It will set a loop as well. Next thing we have to do is activate the loop. So we go up to the transport bar and we activate it. Now when we press play, it's gonna loop and we will hear our kick playing in a loop on 120 BPM. we want our track to be a little bit faster, so we have two options. We could open a time track, this thing, and change the BPM dynamically in the track, or we could go here into the transport bar down here, press F2 if you can't see it for any reason. We'll make it disappear or appear. And then you go to the section where the BPM is displayed and you press on track. So now we have a fixed BPM and we can just go up. We click the number and pull up with the mouse. We can increase the BPM. So now we set it to 180 BPM, and if we press play or spacebar, it's gonna loop. Next thing I'm gonna do is reducing the volume of the channel by a fair bit, so that it's not clipping in the end, that I have a little bit of headroom. So the next thing we do is the same down here with the VB1. Just instead of drawing a MIDI file, we're just gonna go into the looped section in the white arranger window and double click this section, and it's gonna create one for us. That's another little shortcut. So we go to the normal sizing tool, double click the file. We're again in this window. So this time it matters which note we choose with the VB1, so we go to A0. And instead of clicking this part, drawing something in this part, we're going to draw instead those three parts, 3/16 after the kick, and delete this. Then we can select it, hold Control, and then size it. You just go to the end of the MIDI note and hold Control and drag it back, and it's going to be sized. Next thing is you select the MIDI notes and you double them by holding A on your keyboard and just dragging them over. Once you're finished with that, you just go to your VB1, take this little blue thingy, pull it to the left, take the black thingy, pull it to the left, and have a listen. Okay, the bass line is still a little bit loud, so what we will have to do is reduce the volume, but instead of using the channel register card to the left here, this time I'm going to use the mixer. So I'm going to press F3 to get the mixer. Okay, so there you go. This is the mixer. I'm gonna close all that window garbage that we have. So all channels that we'll do in the arranger will be displayed here. And we have a bunch of information and can do other things. For example, equalizing, or we could use insert plugins or send plugins, but more on that later. So I'm gonna bring that back down. So we have our two channels, kick and bass. Let's press play again and see the volume in action. We see that the bass line is a little bit louder than the kick, and it shouldn't be like that normally. The kick is always the loudest element in the mix, so we're going to reduce the volume of the bass line by dragging the slider down a little bit. And if we press to that here on that little number while playing, it will show us the highest peak. So now it's about right. The kick is a tiny little bit louder than the bass line, that's okay. So press F3 again to put the mixer away for now. So I'm back again. Yeah, so now we have our kick and bass line going. It's not equalized, not processed, anything, but at least we have a kick and bass line. So let's go a little bit into the kick and into the bass line and give them a little bit of shape. So first we click this thing here and go to the register card and go to edit instrument. That is that little symbol over here. You click it, it will open the instrument. So we know that our track is going to be written in A minor. So I'm going to tell you the settings for a kick in A minor on Bazzism. We're going to set it on approximately 7,000 Hertz for the frequency start. And the frequency end will be 55 Hertz, and that's a slightly detuned A. So next thing we go to V sweep, pull it a little bit to the left. Let's do it like this for now. And T sweep will reduce the length of the kick. We will reduce it a little bit because the track is in 180 BPM, so that's fairly fast. We need a fairly short kick as well. Next thing is you're going to press envelope on the Bazzism to open the envelope of the kick that you just set up there. And you're going to see this line. You can double click it and it will make those dots. And you can make a couple of them, I think 12 or something. And then just drag them. And what it will do is basically just reduce volume over time in the kick. So we are filtering some frequencies in a way, in a dynamic way, by reducing amplitude. Since the kick is a sinus sweep going from a very high pitch to a low pitch, we have all the frequencies contained. And if we reduce frequencies in a certain amplitude in a certain area of the kick, it will automatically reduce certain frequencies. We can even watch that in an analyzer. If we go to the channel again, to the register card, and here to inserts, or if that doesn't work, you have to set it up basically. Here you can right click this register card and you can tell Cubase what it should display. If it's not here, if inserts is not here and you didn't set it up yet, you are going to want to press on that little E. It will open up this window. That's the track channel settings of the channel, and we have our equalizer that I honestly never use. We have our panner, we have our routing here, we have our sends here, our inserts here. So a bunch of information that we also have on the register card, to be honest. If I press here, it's going to open the equalizer and here the inserts and so forth. So normally I'm using that. I'm barely opening channel settings like this, but since this is aimed towards beginners, I'm gonna show you like that because it's maybe a more straightforward way than using this little register card. Anyway, let's get to it. So I go inside here and go to my Fabfilter Pro Q2. Very, very nice equalizer, by the way. Best one I've seen so far. To be honest, like in that architectural type at least, there are other killer equalizers like the Pultec Rebuild from Waves or Universal Audio. But yeah, this has a frequency analyzer built into it that is activated per default. So we see the frequency curve here. Normally if I, let's see what happens if I take this little dot and pull it back up where it was before. Yeah, you could see a reduction at around about 500 Hertz, and that's a very, very typical area to equalize in a kick. Normally that's a very go-to point on the equalizer if you're trying to fix a kick not sounding so wooden and hollow. So you want to reduce around 400-500 Hertz by a fair bit, and that's what I basically did here. So to leave a little bit of body in the kick, we're gonna leave it as it is there. What we also can do with this envelope, we can control the click of the kick. So if we take this notch and pull it down, and it will reduce high frequencies of the kick. It's also, again, you can see it in the equalizer. We're just going to leave it as it is. Oops. For now. Since we have the kick in A now and the bass in A now, they flow into each other. They're the same notes, so they really nicely flow into each other, which saves you a lot of trouble later, because yeah, everything will work more nicely. The whole track will sound more nice if you work harmonically. So it's a very good way to do it. It's a slightly detuned A, as I said before, but still it sounds on point. So we're just going to leave it blank for now. Maybe we want to reduce a little bit of highs later, but no need to worry about it right now. And don't worry about the equalizer for now as well. I'm going to explain it on another point in time. So we have this neat little loop. What we can do now is just enlarge the area of our loop a little bit. So I'm going to select those two MIDI files and press Ctrl D 3 times. Now we have 4 times 4 kicks. So 4 bars. Yeah. Cool, so that was it with the first video of my beginner tutorials. I hope that I could help you. I'm going to record more videos, but this is the first part of it. So if you liked it, hit the like button. If you are interested in learning more advanced techniques, you can head over to instinctlearning.com. You can head over to instinctlearning.com also on Facebook. We have a Facebook fan page there. You can go to Patreon and support me on my Patreon by going to patreon.com/parandroid, or just subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. And see you soon, hopefully. See you in the next video, which I'm going to record right now for part 2. So, bye.